Hello, I'm Sharon Ross with Capital City Arts Initiative, based here in Carson City, Nevada. We're at the Courthouse Gallery. We're going to interview Heather, Nicole, and Andrew Strom about their exhibition, Wild. The show is up through June 10th, so we get to talk to Heather and Andrew now. Heather and Andrew, talk about some of your histories as artists. Have you always lived and worked in Northern Nevada, Heather?
I have not. I grew up on the East Coast. I grew up in Florida, and I have always been interested in photography and art in general, and very much so interested in wildlife and nature. So my love for photographing wildlife started at a very young age. In high school, I took a film photography class, and that really ignited my passion even more. And it just continued from there. And I've been traveling and taking photos of wildlife and nature for, really since high school.
When did you come to Northern Nevada?
Yes, I moved here about 5 years ago, right before the pandemic. So it was an interesting time to move. but yeah, and it did give me an opportunity to explore and get to know the area and the wildlife of Nevada. Through him. So, yeah.
Your history.
So I grew up in Northern Nevada. I spent a number of years away with the military and eventually came back. I met Heather in May of 2020, midway in the pandemic. And I kind of I had an uncle who was a bird photographer for as long as I can remember. And that was kind of something I'd always wanted to do. But then when Heather and I started hanging out, she would go and take pictures and I would show her around the area. And so after a while, she handed me one of her old cameras and said, "Here, you give it a try too." And we kind of just went from there. And here we are today.
Yes.
From the images in this exhibition, it looks like you both have done a lot of international travel. So talk about where you've gone, your plans for upcoming travel.
Yes. I absolutely love traveling. We both do.
Absolutely.
Yes, absolutely. My first international trip was in 2016. I went to Tanzania by myself. It was a group trip, but I didn't know anybody on the trip, and that really ignited my love and passion for travel and seeing the world. And since then, after meeting him, we've done a lot of traveling together. We've been to Kenya, Costa Rica. We went to North Pole, Norway.
From Svalbard all the way up to the North Pole.
Yes.
Coming up this year, we're looking at going to South Africa, and next year, probably Greenland, and everywhere and anywhere is on the list beyond that.
Yes.
So do each of you have a time of day that you prefer to photograph, Andrew?
So usually your best times of day are morning or evening when the sun is low and you get a nice color. One of my favorites is if there's cloud cover, you get nice even lighting. Photographing birds in the rain is one of my favorite things. So you get just great atmosphere, you get the raindrops, you can play with your shutter speed and you can capture either stretched out raindrops or tight little balls of water. It makes it really fun.
Heather, time of day to photograph?
Yes, similar to what Andrew said. Yeah, I do much enjoy the golden hour light. I really enjoy doing silhouettes of animals, and that is just natural with the setting sun behind the animals. It just adds a golden glow to everything. But also, like what he said, cloud cover is ideal because it eliminates shadows. So, for example, with the bears, it was a sunny day, but there was clouds coming through. This one was later in the day, so the sun was getting lower, but it has nice even lighting, and you do still have like the light on the bears, but it's no harsh shadows. So that's one thing to always you learn to read the light and look at the light and how it's affecting your subject and lighting your subject. Yeah.
Color versus black and white. Andrew?
So it really depends on your subject. Like the lion here, everybody knows what color a lion is. With this one, I really wanted to emphasize the textures and the details with the light playing off of the lion's shape and curves and the thorns in his side. With the hyena here, I did pull out all of the colors except red to really just emphasize how raw and gritty the moment was. But then with the birds over here, like the colors of the birds are the best part. So you have to show it off.
Which one of you took the rhino photograph?
That was mine.
So, how close were you to that bad boy?
So the rhino, he was maybe between 50 to 100 feet away. There was a little ditch and a watering hole in between us and him, so we had a good bit of distance. The lens I was using was a 100 to 500 millimeter lens, and we were able to reach out and get a little closer in the shot, and then it's cropped in a little bit just to capture just the rhino in the frame.
He did a lovely job posing.
Yes,
Yes,
he's
he
very
did.
polite.
So, Heather, is there some on this film that's yours?
The bear, for example, here is mine, and I was actually pretty close to her. This was taken in Lake Clark National Park, and it's known for its large populations of bears, and they're pretty acclimated to people. But generally speaking, it's always safety first, and always keep a very respectful and safe distance. It's about the safety of the animal and the safety of the humans. So I believe with this one I had probably a 300 millimeter lens, so I was able to zoom in to get even closer. But always strict guidelines regarding safety. So yes, I do like to use the longer lens to zoom in so my camera sensor can get closer to the animal while I can keep a safe distance and while the animal can remain safe.
Okay, Andrew, how do you do this? I don't even know what you call it. The silhouette image of your zebra?
Yeah, so I kind of call these the shadow and light series, and they start with actual photographs that I've taken, and it's a very meticulous process to go through and kind of, for lack of better words, paint over the image in pure black and pure white and capture all the details as they actually exist. And the point of these I try to make is that these animals are endangered, they're fragile. The chances of them disappearing from our world and just being a shadow is really what the message is with these images.
Okay, your photographs move well beyond, forgive me, go well beyond pretty pictures. So in Chris Lanier's essay, he talks about discussing your photography as a form of ethics. So Heather, tell me more.
So when it comes to ethical photography, with technology these days, it has become so easy for people to get closer than ever before to animals, especially, particularly with drones. But there's been so many instances where people use drones to literally hover right over the den of a polar bear mother, or a lion, or I mean, you name it. And it really is harassment. You're harassing the animal. You're changing how they're hunting, changing how they might have been pursuing an animal for hunting to feed their young, and now they're scared and because they don't know what this thing is that's in their face. So that's something that I'm just inherently against. Not that there's anything wrong with drone photography per se, but to use it in an ethical way, keep a safe distance, don't encroach on their behavior, don't entice them, don't manipulate their behavior. That's where it really crosses the line. And yeah, you can get a great shot and it might be an award-winning shot, but is it worth it? No, absolutely not.
The goal is to document the animals, not to interfere with the animals, right, or to provoke behavior or to bait the animals into right behavior. Like, our goal is to be a witness to what nature has to offer.
Yes, absolutely.
In Chris's essay, he talks about where you saw malnourished elephants,
yes,
animals with hoof rot and carcasses. Did you ever take any pictures of those kinds of things?
I did. Yes. So in 2019, so exactly on this day in 2019, I was in Amboseli National Park, and it was just lush, green, beautiful, incredible wildlife. And then in 2022, we went back to the same place, but from 2019 through 2022, there had been a drought, and so the entire landscape had changed. I had only been there once before, but just in that short time, I didn't recognize it from the previous from the first time I had gone. So yes, I did document it, and it was devastating. Just the effects that just a few-year drought can have on the landscape and on the wildlife, and it had changed, the paths that the elephants were taking. And I did photograph some of the carcasses that were around because I felt like it was a story that needed to be documented and shared and told. And it was heartbreaking. And they're not pretty pictures, but it's something that does need, I think, there's a story to be told, and it needs to be shared.
climate change?
Yes. This last year, we had the wonderful opportunity to go to the North Pole, to the north of Norway, and we saw it firsthand, the effects of climate change. The polar bear, the shot of the icy mountains were taken very high north, and we're living in it. We're seeing it every day. So that's another reason why it's so important for me to travel and see these beautiful animals of the world while they're still here, because we don't know how much longer we have with them. And I think it's important to share their, just to get a little glimpse of their world, and to share that with people who aren't as fortunate to be able to go and see them in the wild while they still exist.
Andrew, do you have anything to add?
So seeing firsthand the way that the climate is changing around the world has really had an impact on my thoughts and feelings about climate change. We were able to go north of the 80th parallel in early April, something that 5 years ago wouldn't have even been possible, just because 5 years ago there would have been too much pack ice to get that far north. In the last few years alone, polar bears have changed their behaviors and are now hunting reindeer. That was a behavior never seen before. And so there's real observable impacts that are happening if you take the time to look for them.
Influences from art history or contemporary art? Anybody that has inspired you?
Art. I've always been a fan of art. I know that sounds really just cliche and kind of basic to say, but in more recent history, it's more about the conservation storytelling for me that has been a very big influence on me. People like Amy Vitale, Jonathan and Angela Scott, Melissa Schaefer, and Fred Granath. They are just pioneers, in my opinion, of conservation storytelling and really, using the stories of the animal and their encounters and what they've witnessed to tell a bigger story of what's going on. And that's really influenced me and helped keep me motivated to keep going and keep telling the stories.
So what's next for your art?
That is a great question. This exhibit is huge, and we're so thrilled and honored and grateful to be here. But we just want to keep the momentum going. I will possibly be doing a wildlife guided tour where I will be the photography guide in Alaska for whale watching, and then really just sharing and teaching the practices of the ethical wildlife photography in the field, and teaching people on that. But just keep going, keep traveling, keep telling stories as until we can't.
Yeah. My goal for the next year is to continue the Shadow and Light series and expand on that, in addition to traveling more and telling stories and doing my best to find a broader audience to tell those stories too.
Thank you both so much. Thank you. We're thrilled to have your show here.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
In addition to presenting Heather and Andrew's work, CCAI commissioned Chris Lanier to write an essay about their work and their processes. You can pick up a copy of this essay in the gallery while the show is up, and it will be archived online on our website. The essay title is "We're All in This Together." Thank you to Andrew and Heather for sharing their art with the initiative, with the city, and thank you to the courthouse for this wonderful space. You can follow CCAI on our website, ccainv.org, and on Facebook and Instagram. Come see the art in all 4 of our galleries. Each has plenty of free parking. And you'll find all of our exhibition videos on YouTube with Capital City Arts Initiative. And our generous funders are listed on the following slides. We appreciate them very much, and thank you for watching.